What is goes happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Milano. Welcome to another great edition of the Rewatchers Council MCU edition. Today, we'll be talking about the second installment of the Iron Man series, Iron Man 2, and the third installment in the MCU. But today, I'm not alone. I'm never alone. I got my right-hand man with me to take us through the journey of Tony Stark. It is my main man, Justin. Justin, how are you?
Doing pretty good, man. But according to how many people watch this afterwards, you know what I'm saying. I might have a couple of hot takes on this one, to be honest with
All
you.
right, all right, all right. We can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to hear it. But joining us is always our patron, friend, and overall Southern California cool man, Matt. Matt, how are you?
Good, thank you, Ferris. Doing well, thanks.
That's great, great. Guys, like I always do, I'm gonna start it off like I always do. Where were you on May 7th, 2010?
Shit, I mean, I don't know exactly. This was not a movie I rushed to the theater, so it wasn't like, oh, I was there watching this movie. Now I watched it like within the first weekend, right? The first few days, MCU, first couple of movies I enjoyed. People was excited, getting on there was getting Iron Man 2. Robert Downey Jr. did such a good job with Iron Man. Shit, back in 2010, bro. I don't even know what the hell I was doing, to be honest with you. But I did watch this movie sometime pretty
Yeah.
close to that.
I was 1 year in to me moving to my new city, Berkeley, California. Shout out to the move. I was a year in. Big fan. Shout out. I think it was I think this was sixth grade. So I don't know where I was doing in sixth grade in May.
Yeah, you're getting the hell out of there as quick as you can, though, right? Like,
What would you mean?
maybe some work happens and stuff like that. You're making a little bit of money, and then you don't have to be stuck in Berkeley. Like, you getting the fuck out, right?
No, Berkeley's pretty cool. The Bay Area is nice.
I mean,
San Francisco, Oakland, they're pretty. It's a pretty nice area. I like it. There's a lot of stuff to do here. Go to San Jose, you got Oakland, you got San Francisco, you got a lot of good stuff here, man. Don't believe everything
hey,
you read, Justin.
hey,
That's
man,
all.
there's like one time where San Francisco probably would have been number one on that list. It's dropped down to number four already.
No, San Francisco was never number one. It's always like
Damn.
three. Like well, it's always three.
But they had that Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat.
Yeah, man. They also have the It's It. The It's It. Y'all ever had an It's It?
I don't even know what the hell that
It's
is.
it's like it's an oatmeal patty, two of them, but it got depending on the flavor of ice cream. They got mint, they got vanilla, they got strawberry, they got chocolate. You name it. And then it's dipped in chocolate.
Sounds
Amazing.
good, but you know what? Let's go to the guy to
Yeah,
let us know where he was at. That's in the more
Matt.
dominant version of California.
Yeah. Well, okay. I was talking about the
Well,
dominant stuff.
I don't think I ever saw this in theaters, to be honest. I don't think I saw this one in theaters. I don't know. I was probably smoking weed somewhere.
yeah, that's a definite
No,
100%.
I'm with you, man, because I remember the first time I ever watched this was on FX.
Oh, okay.
That's when I watched it. Like I watched it on. We used to. They used a thing called channel. You remember channel surfing, Justin? We used to do
Yeah.
that. I did that too. I would channel surf and I would get on FX, and FX would do marathons sometimes of movies. They put Iron Man 2 on, and it would be like it was FX's movie spotlight, and it would be like right before they would cut to the movie, they would cut to like their host. I don't remember who the hosts were. They would talk about it, and be like, now back to Iron Man 2, and then they would cut to Iron Man 2 and stuff like that. But let's get right into it, man. Matt, simple question to you: do you still like this movie, or did you ever
Um,
like this movie?
this has always been my least favorite Iron Man movie. I don't know, just the villain. He could have been compelling, but I don't think he was at all. Um, Having ties to his dad and shit like that. But yeah, it was just weak, and especially like the main fight at the end is so underwhelming to me. I don't know. I never cared for this one.
Got you. Justin, hit me. Did you ever like this
I mean,
movie?
I thought I was gonna be on a panel that liked this movie from the beginning and everything else. This is what I'll say. When I first watched this movie, like I said, I didn't know I was gonna be the only one that had watched this movie in the theater.
Mm.
I enjoyed it back then
Mm.
because things like doing these comic book movies and stuff, especially like a lot of the MCU stuff, we had gotten some Spider-Man, we gotten probably a little bit of or X-Men and stuff like that, which I liked a lot of those movies. There's some of them I didn't like or whatever. But this is this foray of like, oh shit, we're gonna get. You already knew when you watched this movie, it had already been pre-planned. You were getting Thor next. You're like, oh shit, leading to. We had already getting hints about the Avengers. So you're like, hell yeah, bro, what's this shit leading to? Sounds like it's gonna be fun. So you had this excitement. And I remember liking the movie and stuff like that, but that's what I'm saying. Like my thing's going to change now, and I didn't know what I was going to get out of this. Right? Like I still thought Incredible Hulk. I wasn't able to be on that review, but I think Incredible Hulk was about the same to me. It wasn't like super great, but I thought it was okay.
Fine, yeah, it was fine, yeah.
This movie right here drops some points now that I go back because, and I think I liked it more then because it was still one of the first movies. So there was things that like I didn't notice, and there was things that like I wasn't paying attention to or privy to that I am now, just because we got so many movies in the MCU now to like look back on. But yeah, I think this is a movie that started to become the catalyst of the things I don't like about the MCU now.
Like you think
that
this one the formula got.
The first movie for Iron Man was pretty good to me because like it was grounded, right? It was a guy selling arms. He gets put in a bad situation. He has to overcome that and everything else. He gets out. And then he starts, you know, he trajects to like changing his life a little bit. Now he actually cares about people where before he didn't give a shit. All this stuff. And then it culminates in like he's got to get in a fight with someone who was like he thought was his friend. So there was like a lot of compelling and grounded stuff that was going on. Where in this movie, and I didn't notice this that much in the Hulk. I didn't notice that much in Iron Man 1. Like, yeah, they're like, because of the character Stark, you did have some like funny quips and stuff here, even in that movie, in the first one. But they were done at the right time. I just found this movie kept going back and forth. It was like, oh, we got to do a little action. Oh, there's a funny thing. Action, funny, action, funny. Just kept going back and back and back and forth. And it was like, man, dude, where's that grounded moment that I like, where there was like serious moments? Like the only serious moment in this entire movie is like he's possibly going to die if he doesn't find anything different to put in his chest that can keep him alive and everything else. And it's like that, but they didn't even like cover that super good. So like when he found the element that finally combined, it was just kind of almost cheap to me. It wasn't even done very well. So it's like
they left a lot on the table.
Oh yeah, I think this movie could have potential. You had
good
man
bones.
Michael. You had my man Michael Rourke up in this son of a gun. That dude's like an Academy Award guy, right? Like if I'm not mistaken, like he's
Mickey Rourke.
Mickey Rourke. Said the wrong name, but yeah, Mickey Rourke. This dude is legitimately a badass, and there was moments where you could see, bro, he's a badass. But nah, let's make the bad guys. He's wanting a bird, and then you give him the wrong bird, and then he just accepts that bird. Like stupid shit like this. And then like the other bad guy, so like the guy with the money, the hammer guy, he's
just
like
hammer.
Dancing around like a dumbass, looking stupid. He's the whole slapstick comedy villain. You know what I'm saying? It's like nothing can be serious in this movie. Like I said, the only moment they had that was serious was a couple of moments with Pepper and Iron Man. And then the moment they could have had super serious about him dying, he has to find some way to do it. And then if they would have done that like in a super executed it very well, I think the movie could have been better than what it was, but it's because they failed on the only two things that was even sort of even grounded in the film. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm with you because, you know, after I watched the movie, you know, I looked into it, right? They were trying to mix in, there's a storyline in the comics called Devil in a Bottle with Tony where he falls into major alcoholism and he does what he does in the movie where he puts on the suit and he's having fun. I think he like accidentally kills someone or something in the comics. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not. You know what I mean. I need Coy Jean Drew to fact check me. You know, I'm not Coy. Coy knows everything on comic wise. So maybe not. So like they threw that in there a little bit, but then they didn't really kind of pursue it. I'm with you, Justin, right? Because it's a very serious topic, man. He found something to save his life, but the thing that's saving his life is killing him. You could really keep going. I get what you're saying. Is you know, it was kind of a little too quippy, a little too funny. Because I remember when Romanoff was doing the thing and he pops up on screen and then like they're talking to Rhodey and then he's like, oh yeah, man, I'm dying. And then you hear Pepper say, you're dying? And then they have their little joke where she's like, you could have told me. And he's like, I tried to tell you. but like, they could have had like a very serious moment in his lab where he like pulls out his chest, but like, you see this, like, it's killing me. I need to find something, but then you can also do like you know the poison affecting him in a way and kind of making him like, was he drinking his sorrows away because the poison was, yeah, I think there was a lot of left on the table. Same with Mickey Rourke. I think you could have made him a little more fueled by a warped sense of revenge, because he's getting his dad's version of what happened to his dad, not the real version, right? The real
Right.
version is that his dad wanted to sell it, not actually help people. He wanted to make money, and probably his dad probably told him like, "Oh, he screwed me over," and which was good. You can have like the evolution of like, my dad lied to me. You could show a more layered stuff to that, or you could just be like, you know what? I don't care that my dad lied to me. You still ruined my dad's life. I'm gonna kill you. You can go with multiple ways. I think you could have done stuff, but I also like that when Tony is by himself and when he's doing by himself. Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark, and he's amazing at it, right? And then I like how in this movie, like the good parts of it were where it showed you the genius, because in the comics you're like, this guy is a genius, like he's the Wonder Boy. He's like, people talk about how he's Batman, but with like Brainiac, you mix together and stuff, and it, finding out the new element and breaking down what his dad did, and then him then going through his own self-discovery with his father, where he also has a version of his dad, where just like Anton, well, no, or is it Anton? I think so. Yeah, Anton. Yeah. No. Is it? I don't know. Yeah, Anton. Where he thinks his dad is one way. He thinks his dad is Superman, while Tony thinks his dad never loved him. He's like, I'm just, I don't know what the hell I was to him. He was happy when he sent me to boarding school. It kind of shows a father relationship where like you have a father who was, in a sense, kind of like, you can say a bad father, or maybe a bad father, where he kind of lied to his son and didn't really tell him the truth, and tried to warp it. And then you have Howard, where he's like, I thought I was a good dad, and then my son just didn't. How like when you're raising a kid, he thinks he knows everything, and you're trying to teach him, and then your kid finally realizes, he grows up, and you're like, Dad was right. You know what I mean? I think that's what Tony was. He realized like, oh, my dad was right when he realized during the message. That was pretty good. I liked it, but I agree with you, Justin. There was a lot left on the table. They could have expanded on some stuff. Rewatching it, yes, I still like the movie, but I agree with you. They could have expanded some stuff. It probably was a little too funny. Kind of didn't take it. Kind of a little too quippy. You could have really honed in on like, I'm dying.
Yeah.
I am dying.
This movie, because like in the first movie, you had the obvious character progression that was actually a pretty easy one to do. Mm-hmm. You got this guy selling arms, kind of a douchebag, because he's doing all that and he's just living the lavish life, doesn't even care about his company. He's rich, whatever. Mm-hmm. He's doing everything. He's a showboat, all this
not
shit.
Paying attention.
And he progresses. So the problem with the second movie would be, what can we have to give Tony Stark another compelling story that he has mm-hmm. to overcome? Well, the issue with this movie is they came up with a really good one. The stuff that he uses to like keep him alive so the shrapnel doesn't make it to his heart is actually killing him over time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he finds that out. So you could have had this very serious thing where he's like having to deal with this, like his death's coming up, so you can even have the drinking thing happening or whatever, even maybe
he's self-medicating.
A terrible mistake, right? Like, so because he like doesn't know, but now he's like, whatever. He finds himself where he doesn't care as much anymore. He's only got like a year to live, that kind of situation. But then and then you have a serious moments, not these jokey quips like you just talked about, where it's back and forth. Oh, you didn't tell me he was dying. Blah, blah. At a serious moment. You could have the serious story where Pepper's there for him, right? And bringing him up. Like, she finds out, right? She walks in. He doesn't expect her to come in. She walks in out of nowhere.
It's like, what? Why? What's that doing?
Yeah. And she finds out, right? And then even maybe Romanoff, like Black Widow tells her, mm-hmm. right? Like, hey.
Yeah, I'm you remember that scene where he comes in with the strawberries. he's there to tell her he's dying. Why? You could have just told her there. Like, I need to talk. We need to talk.
And it could have been an interesting tell where she like lifts him up, right? Mm-hmm. She's like, look, who cares if you got just a year to live? We got things to do. We can get things done. finish something like maybe even trying to finish his dad's project of like giving people like renewable energy that's super cheap, man. Like make like she's trying to bring him up, like don't give up, even though you only got a year, you can have the best year of your life situation. And have the serious story. And then they also could have had York, and I can't remember his name because you're better with names than I am. I fucking suck with names. But let's just be honest, the bad guy Justin Hammer, that's in the character that's in this movie, like he should have just been
sacrificed him.
He should have just been a badass, like not badass as far as fighting, but he should have been this guy who was a douchebag piece of shit that everybody hated, not because his jokes sucked, and not because you were just making fun of him. He was a punching bag in this movie. Like he should have been more serious. And then York meets up with him, right? And now York, who didn't have the funds, now has it. And they're combining together to make this devastating duo. They're working together instead of being like whatever. And it's a badass like moment and scene. It even makes the end battle would have been more badass if, say, like home dude Justin Hammer's like he knows about the computer stuff, so he's like controlling the other guys. And then you got like what was his name? I guess like the character would be Sidewinder or something like that. You got him coming out like badass with his new suit and everything else, right? And they're like
Don Cheadle
working together.
No,
I'm talking about York when he's bad
Whiplash?
guy. Whiplash, yeah. So you got Whiplash showing up.
Sidewinder.
Right? Yeah, Sidewinder. Who the hell is? I think that's a damn
no, Sidewinder. No.
Yeah, it's either a G.I. Joe character or
Sidewinder is Giancarlo Esposito in the new Captain America movie.
Oh, that is true. So there's like Sidewinders everywhere. But anyway, we have the character Whiplash come in, and then like they had this badass battle, and maybe that makes Iron Man like one of them has to fight Whiplash, right? And the other one's having to find
War Machine. War Machine has to fight out.
War Machine has to go find Justin Hammer where he's at and fight off all the other robots, whatever. Could have been an intriguing thing. There were things in here that could have been badass if you just made changes in the tone. But it's even like when Whiplash first shows up and they're in the race car thing. Come on, bro. Like you even like F1. You like Formula 1 and shit.
Yeah.
Like, bro. I don't even know what the hell that was, a Mercedes-Benz or some kind of damn car that's like foreign, that's supposed to be expensive. That it was
a Rolls Royce.
Happy and what's her name's riding in. So that's even stupid as hell. Doesn't even make sense how they would get there through that. They should have just had them driving up to where the accident was, and they kind of throw it over the wall or something, talking about his case to be Iron Man.
No, so it's the Monaco Grand Prix. So Justin,
bro, they would have died in a wreck.
Well, no,
those cars are going 150, 200 miles an hour.
Okay, I understand, but so I guess the way I'm trying to, I kind of see where you're coming from, but let me kind of explain. We're like, it's the street of Monaco. It's not like a racetrack.
No, I get exactly what they're doing. Like even NASCAR has a couple of like street races they do, like where it's going on different like roads or whatever. But the thing is like if they would have been going with the traffic, I would have been okay with it. But they were going head on into these cars. Yeah, they're like 200 miles an hour. The best drivers in the world wouldn't have been able to dodge that road race every time. There would have been deaths, casualties there. But then even during that fight, when it looked cool as shit, I ain't gonna lie to you now. The whiplash and like two of the cars are exploding behind him, kind of thing.
And then cuts
and they're falling down as he's like walking slowly towards them.
Thank you for bringing that up. But before we get into it, that's actually my next question. Let me throw some stats for everybody here. Like we said, director Jon Favreau, Happy Hogan. The writer though is Justin Theroux. You may know him for roles in Mulholland Drive or The Leftovers. If anyone's a big Leftover fans, top stars like we talked about: Robert Downey Jr., Mickey Rourke, Gwyneth Paltrow as Ivan Vanko and Tony Stark and Pepper Potts. Ivan, that's his name. Ivan, not Anton. Ivan. Let's get some money stats. Budget was $200 million back in 2010. Nowadays would be $294.1 million, so almost $300 million for adjusted for inflation. The original release in 2010, the original 129.1 on opening weekend, adjusted for our standards nowadays is 188.4 million. Total domestic, which is we know what it is, 312.4 back in the day, and now it would be 459.4 today. Gross ranking amongst all of the last 36 MCU movies. We've had 36 lately. At the time of recording, as we speak, it is 21st overall. Worldwide they made 623.9 million, and adjusted for inflation nowadays is $917.4 million adjusted now. like now, so there's some stats we like to do for the show, but now the big moment is Justin, your favorite moment, like you were talking about the fight scene with Whiplash initially.
But
Is
it
there
ain't
any
my
other?
favorite. It looked
No, exactly.
badass.
Yeah, look
But then
badass,
like
but
they
now
show up in the Rolls Royce.
dovetail it into your favorite moment.
But yeah,
Talk
but
about it and then talk about your favorite moment.
well, I'm just saying, like, they showed up in the Rolls Royce, and home dude literally one swipe could have killed him. And it was just so dumb to me that he's like on purpose hitting their exact right spots where they're not seated, like right in the middle of the car, right on the side of the car, on this side,
But he
on this
also did
side.
get like run over, so they
Yeah,
ran him.
well,
They ran him into the
right,
defense.
but and how did that even work? How did he even able to walk afterwards? To be honest with you,
Well, it's just
Happy
also,
ran him over 4 times,
but
and it wasn't like he was wearing a full bodysuit. He only had the thing like
it's
around his
also
chest area.
it's also a comic movie. All right, so like let's
That's what I always say. If all the great, like if they would have took more seriously those story points we were just talking about, and that was the first fight scene,
you
I
can
would have
ignore
never, I would ignored it because
Yeah.
the rest of the shit would have been so great. But it's so how much like I said, too much comedy, man. And like I literally was watching this movie and I'm like, holy fuck, this movie kind of started some of the bullshit that I do not like about the MCU right now in most cases. I enjoyed Thunderbolts, by the way, so I'm not just a person that complains and then
Thunderbolts is
want to
great.
hate
I like
because you're trying to
Thunderbolts.
get clicks. I actually enjoyed Thunderbolts.
I like Thunderbolts.
But like
no comedy in that movie. That's all I have to say.
I mean, there is some like couple
Well, no,
things.
yeah, there's
like
some, but it's not a very happy movie. That's all I have to
But
say.
if you, it's hard to choose. Like, if you want me to say like my favorite moment, like it's hard. I would almost say, and this shouldn't be it. This shouldn't be it. I would almost say when he did get drunk as Iron Man, and him laughing his ass off as a drunk person, and like doing the stupid shit, like shooting the wine bottles out of the air. Because that kind of did make me laugh because I'm imagine myself like being drunk, right? Like, and me doing stupid shit.
You got the Iron Man suit in your garage, yeah.
Yeah, or something like that, right? So I was kind of laughing at that, just thinking about it.
Let's go
but
skeet.
That's what makes it sad. There should have been a Pepper Potts moment in Iron Man, even though they tried to do it towards the end, especially. But there should have been a moment with them that I'm like, nah, man, that was just so damn riveting. Like I couldn't take my eyes off of it. There should have been a moment where Iron Man has to do something to find something, that element or whatever, and it wasn't just a cheap way of doing it like they did in the movie. Like it wasn't just so easy. He basically like found it almost by accident, kind of bullshit. Like, so to me, it's like, man,
not fully by accident.
Or even like his dad moment. Yeah, but
kind of,
I get
led
it.
him.
But even the dad moments you could have had in here, what could have been more like even more serious or even more heartfelt, and I thought I was missing all that. So the only thing I could pick would be my favorite part of the movie was a part that it was meant to be funny. Well, it was meant to be funny that he's like.
You can also dovetail it into his fight with his best friend, where his best friend's extremely disappointed in him, and like, yo, I can't believe you did this, man. I defended you, and look at you now. You kind of figure out, Matt.
I don't even think they did that really well. I know what they were trying to do there, but I don't even think that was done super well. But
Matt, your favorite moment, my guy?
Honestly, the part that I thought was the coolest was when they were fighting all those drones in the kill box, and you just saw both Iron Man and War Machine going at him. Fucking War Machine's Gatling gun firing all over the place.
Bro, he did split one in half. That was pretty awesome. There were some things in here that looked awesome.
Yeah.
And then Tony takes those discs out of his fist or whatever and cuts them all in half.
Yeah,
that part was cool as hell.
The one-shot kill, yeah. Well, thank you for bringing that up, Matt. Kind of dovetails into my next question. The villain breakdown. Ivan Venkov shows up and attacks both of them. Like I think we've talked about it a couple of times about Venkov, is how we were kind of left wanting more from him. Because I agree with you. I think we could have gotten more. Him getting his mind warped by his dad because his dad didn't want to face the truth that he was actually it's his fault. He was like we were here to help people, and you wanted to make money. That's not how we do things. And Howard Stark got rid of him, and like we said, Mickey Rourke, Academy Award winner, so we know he's a good actor, and he could have probably taken a lot. So what do you think, Matt, about Mickey Rourke? Do you think we could have had more? Was he perfect? What was your thoughts?
I mean, I think he ate up the scenery, chewed it up with what he had, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just I can understand the revenge too that he wanted to take and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't even like really do anything with it. Kind of like, I mean, he took down Tony in front of everyone, and then he got arrested. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if what's his name Hammer didn't get him out, he would have just that would have been the end for him. Like, so he didn't even really get like a good revenge. I don't know. It was
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know. It was kind of a waste of a character to me, and I don't know.
Yep. Yep. And I'm with you, man. I think MCU's we've been saying for years, MCU, the villain problem. They have a villain problem. A lot of their villains, they're either they're wasted or they weren't given a lot. Again, apparently the best villain is, either Thanos or Loki, but Loki's no longer really a villain. So, so villain, I think Vulture was probably a good villain in the Spider-Man movies, but we'll talk about those when we get to them. So, Justin, agree with Matt, disagree with Matt, or
No, man, I totally agree because it's like I said before, like you put him with this slapstick comedy bad guy that's giving him the money to
Mhm.
be able to do some of the stuff to even help him on his revenge.
Oh yeah, Justin Hammer.
But you got
Justin Hammer, yes.
Yeah, but you got like York over here. He's a badass when he gets like the opportunity. And then there's like a moment, like when he first like meets Iron Man and like some of that stupidity occurred, I said, in that first fight. But then like, he finally does get taken down by Iron Man and he's like laughing and saying like, you lose. And it's basically because of this. And Iron Man goes and it talks to him and he's like, basically like, I made you bleed. And once that happens, everybody's coming for you. What would have been cool is if the middle part of this movie, they kind of scratched some of the bullshit that didn't mean a whole lot. And they actually maybe even could have saved the whole thing trying to kill Tony Stark for another movie, maybe, or something.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular movie, I would have loved it as if Home Dude's in jail. Hammer's not a joke. He's an actual real dude that wants more power. He is jealous of Stark, right? And you got the jealousy guy and the revenge guy teaming up, like I was talking about earlier. But I really would have loved it if that middle part of the movie was like these random motherfuckers that tried to take Iron Man out, like out of nowhere, like so that we had the villain.
I think the
like
line,
the villain kind of proving his point, right? Of like, you're bleeding now. Now people's going to come at you.
Yeah.
So you had these people in the background that was afraid to come at Stark. Now all of a sudden they're like, nah, man, we're going to try to take his ass out. We know he can get beat if we catch him at the right moment, kind of situation. I thought it would have been cool, and it wouldn't have had to been like supervillains coming at him. It could have been like different groups and pockets around the world, right? Like because like
army militias.
Yeah, army militias, like because in that
The
first
U.S.
movie,
government because they want the suit, thrown in there. Yeah, because I think the line in the movie is, I think he says, if I think it's like, if I make God bleed, people won't believe in him or as strongly as they thought.
Yep.
And I go back to this documentary I watch about, I think Justin, you may appreciate this, about Dale Earnhardt Sr. Right, and how his death changed NASCAR because of the neck device that people. So because for years everyone kept saying, people kept dying because of neck injuries and head wounds, and everyone was like, oh, that's not gonna be me. That's not gonna be me. They died because of driver error. And then when Dale Sr. died, everyone was like, if that happened to him, what's gonna happen to me?
Well, he was one of the ones.
Yeah,
he didn't want to wear it because he said
it messed up his peripheral vision. Yeah. And I think the line in that documentary, I think it was by Ryan McGee. He said, when they were like, the mortal man saw God die, they started to think, what's going to happen to me? When Dale Sr. passed away. And I think that's what they were trying to do with Tony. He's like literally, like when it happened, the government was like, he told us we weren't going to have it for 30 years. Some random jamoke from a gulag created it. So what else has he been lying about? Then it goes back to the first scene where I like how the senator, for years I never knew who he was, and then I realized it's Gary Shandling from the Larry Sanders show. Yeah. It's Larry Sanders. And then so Larry Sanders had to sit there and be embarrassed by him. So now he's like, look at this clown. He was being a clown in our court. He lied to us. Look, what else has he been hiding from us? And it ruins his reputation. It ruins his relationship. He's dying. kind of in a sense he was kind of correct, but he literally also wanted to kill him. You know, it was kind of see exactly that's why I'm with you, Justin. A lot was left on the table. A lot was left on the table. We got a slice of a pizza, not the whole pizza. We could have had a great giant pie if we wanted to do it.
Listen, man, I'm gonna look straight at the fans here, right in the camera, because you know most of the time it's at an angle. I'm looking at you guys. If you make it to this point, I'm gonna let you know.
Hit that like button.
Listen, I'm a dumbass son of a bitch. Okay, let's be honest. When I watch a movie and I walk away from it, and I can name 5 or 6 things that legitimately would have been a better story, written wise, whatever, like that means something. That means the movie ain't very good. Now, I am one of those people that also believes that you can like movies that aren't very good. I like some of them. I like movies that I know. I like movies because they either make my ass laugh, they're so bad, whatever it is. I like movies that I know aren't actually good movies, right? It's okay to enjoy those movies. So don't let nobody shame you because like you happen to like a movie or a show or something like that other people don't like, because that's up to you. It's like a subjective thing in a lot of cases. But a lot of times you can objectively say, well, this movie wasn't done very good, right?
What if
So
like
you can be a fan of Iron Man 2. You can be a fan of Iron Man 2 because maybe it makes you laugh at more points than it made me laugh or whatever, right? You can still be like, I like the movie or I enjoyed the experience. At the same time, you can also objectively say this movie is a mess and it could have been done way better.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the thing I think people like butt heads about a lot of times. It's like, just because I say this movie ain't that great. Well, like I said, if you would have asked me back when I first watched it, I probably would have gave it a way better score than I'm about to give it on tonight's review.
Yeah.
But that's because
also,
the MCU, well, the MCU has 30-something movies now, and there's about 15 of them that have the same problem that I noticed in this movie.
Yes.
But at the time I watched this movie, I didn't realize that much of the problem. You see what I'm saying? Because it was like one of the first movies.
Yes,
it wasn't
the third one.
Yeah, but like,
by the way, guys, when we
rounded more.
Yeah. By the way, guys, when we score these, I want can we give them out of 5 stars because we're gonna put these on our letterbox with combined scores. So make sure to also follow our letterbox. We're gonna put that up as well. So make sure you know. Can we go stars, please? Stars, not letters or numbers. Stars, because it'll be great for our letterbox. That we're gonna have like a giant list of movies that we reviewed with our star ratings. Average is gonna be an average. It's gonna be an average. It's not you know, and we may throw in the individual in the description, but the average there as well. So
I got you. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah,
exactly. We ought to promote that at the beginning of the damn thing.
You know, we did.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we did. So but I want to remind everyone. So we're gonna do these out of stars, 5 stars. You know, I'll accept the 4.5 and the 3.5 with the stars because that's an option on Letterbox. I'll do that begrudgingly, but yes. So we're gonna do stars. But before we do the ratings, the end credit scene, very quick, and I want to talk about it because Adelia.
Can you look up? I'm going to judge it because the reason why I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to ask you to do this real quick. Can you look up when Thor came out after this movie? Like, what was the gap?
Oh,
because this is going to affect.
I got you.
This is going to affect how I thought about the end.
Literally 1 year later.
Okay.
Literally 1 year later, May 6, 2011.
So my thoughts on the end credit scene, shit. It didn't do nothing. Like if Thor, that's why I wanted you to look it up, because I will say this was a cool end credit scene if Thor came out like a couple months later.
Yes.
But a whole year, like you looking out in the desert and saying we found it, like I get that we're supposed to understand he's talking about Thor, right? Like because in the lightning happens or whatever, right? The sound effect at least happens. It's like, okay, cool, whatever. But I have to wait a year for that little cheap ass thing. Bro, this I'd have been pissed off if I would have waited in the theater for this long.
Well, Justin, there's also the back in the day where they only released one movie a year and they took their time with it, and you know people were okay with it. You know now people.
You got to give me more. You got to give me a scene where Thor. You got to show me Thor.
Well, some people nowadays are complaining there's too much MCU. There, it's too little, too much. I don't know what everyone.
No, I'm cool with the 1 year thing, Ferris. Yeah. I'm not saying they should have been 2 months later. But this end credit scene left a lot to be desired. To have to wait a year.
It was just the hammer and
like that was not enough for you to wait a whole year.
Yeah. Matt,
So
you agree?
we should have seen Thor in his costume at least, right? Show up, and then like lightning shows up with the bolt and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, or they could have just showed someone trying to move it and they couldn't move it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, that could have been cooler. I would agree with that. Like actually have some.
Like the shield scientist, you know, they probably be like, hey, let me see if I can grab it. And like you have
Yeah.
like a scientist try to grab it and like a someone from like a
You
like
could have
yeah.
had a
Yeah.
lot of people and like big strong dudes, and you just had a couple of them go up there and try to pull it.
Phil could have been like, ah, Phil Coulson, shout out to him. He
No,
would have
so Phil Coulson should have showed up, right? And there's this line of people, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on?" Right?
mm-hmm.
Because he doesn't know 100%. He shows up and he walks past this line of like big, strong guys or whatever, right? People that obviously work out in the gym kind of
Mm-hmm.
situation. And then he finally gets to the end of the line, and he can't see. He sees the guy struggling with something, right? But you can't really make out what it is. And then Coulson kind of goes around the guy, and then the hammer's in full display,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy's trying to pull it
And then
up.
he calls and
Oh,
says,
he's like,
we
yeah,
found it.
we found it. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, something like that would
Yeah.
have been cooler, but come on, man.
The reason I want to point out this and credit scene, shout out to Delia. She's on vacation. She last week when we did Incredible Hulk, she pointed out that Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, and Thor it's so she has a book. I gotta buy this book that she has. These three movies are called Nick Fury's Big Week. So all three of these movies happen in 1 week of each other.
Cool.
So they're all literally in a span of 7 days. Where in the movie, Phil Coulson responds like, "I've been reassigned," and he's like, "Oh, where? I'm going to New Mexico." That's a couple days later. He's in New Mexico. So Culliver University's incident happened a couple of days before Iron Man 2. So imagine America has an incident at Culliver University with a green dude. Tony Stark's home gets blown up. Stark Expo is being exploded a couple of days later, and it's just living in this world is just crazy. That was also another fun tidbit about this end credit scene where it ends with Phil Coulson. I'm assuming the end credit scene is the Saturday, where he's like, "I found it." Where Sunday through Friday was Incredible Hulk and Iron Man together. Which is hilarious to me. That's the one thing I really enjoyed. I really
Oh,
like it as well.
and remember, it just said that the little kid that was wearing the Iron Man mask that put his
Uh
hand up, that's
yes.
supposed to be Peter Parker.
Yes, so they added more information in that book, and it's not a retcon, I guess, because that kid was never actually known to be anybody. What is it a retcon? Can you is that what a retcon is? I think so. I guess I'm using retcon correctly. They retcon that kid, whereas like he's about to shoot the dude. That's Peter
Yeah.
Parker. That's supposed to be Tom Holland, which I didn't know. So apparently that little kid is Tom Holland. Tom Holland's Peter Parker. So there's that little another tidbit as well in there as well. So shout out to him. Shout out to little Peter Parker for being at this because the expo is in Queens. So which is where he's from. He's from Flushing. He's from Flushing Meadows, which is in Queens. So he probably told Aunt May, "Can I go see the Stark Expo?" And she was like, "Sure, Peter. Make sure to stay safe." And he almost dies. But it is shout out to Iron Man for saving him. But on that note, any other final notes, everyone?
No, I'm good. I'm ready
We
to
give
give
our stars.
Oh, the stars. Yeah, star rating. Justin, hit me.
All right, I'm gonna. I'll do. So this movie, when I first watched it, I would have put it like probably at like a B plus, not in the A range. B plus. I'm gonna give you the star rating here in a second, but I'm just
No, I got
like
you.
I normally do. So B plus. This movie, after watching it now, is gonna do. I might change my mind on some of these other movies and actually go up, but this movie went down. This movie went to a C minus, which would equivalent to me to a 3 on the 1 to 5 scale.
All right,
Because
3
it's right
stars.
above. It's still passing. We're not at the 2.5 mid. Almost
Yeah.
failing grade. We're still at a passing grade. There's still some enjoyable moments in there. There's some cool looking action scenes that happens, like that kind of thing. So at least I can take that out of the movie, but I still think the story was like the weakest part of it, which sucks because I thought the story in Iron Man 1, if you go back and watch the review, like I was talking about how good that movie was, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes. Matt.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 too. It was just I don't know. It had like a half baked story, and especially the boss fight at the end was just really underwhelming to me. Like it was more fun watching them fight the drones than it was fighting Whiplash at the end.
Yeah.
So,
I totally agree with that. Yep.
Yeah, the Jones nice one was good. Yeah. I'm gonna kind of like, after this, honestly, guys, I was coming in to be like, I'm gonna give it a 4. I really liked it, but then after this conversation, I'm kind of, I'm gonna bring it down, and then I'm gonna, break my own rule. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. So I'm, because y'all made some good points. I really, there was a lot left on the table. We could have really expanded upon, his literal. He's literally visualizing his own death, because every time he opens his chest, he sees the poison in his blood. So that would mess up a lot of people. So right now we're at an average score of a combined score of 9.5. Divide that by 3. So we are at 3.2 stars.
Yep.
Is what our average rating for
I get
Iron
it
Man
though.
2.
The first time I watched it, and the first time a lot
Yeah.
of people watch this movie without a second watch, they just watched it the one time in the theater. You walking out and be like, bro, did you see that moment where he's like walking and the cars are exploding by him? That shit looks so cool. Like, and then there's other moments like there was the same thing. Oh man, like you were talking about when he pulls out the lasers and he spins around and like kills like all those dudes, or even the moments where he's getting chased by War Machine because he's out of control. There were some moments there where they've blown up the cars. You walk out with a spectacle and you're like, oh shit, this like looked really cool. Yeah, this movie's badass. But then when you go back and watch it and you're like paying attention to it, you're like, yeah, I mean, that was kind of cool, but the rest of the movie kind of sucked.
I just want to say one last thing too. Like,
Matt.
this movie, to me, showed like no chemistry between Pepper Potts and Tony.
Yeah, until the very end. I agree, until the very end.
Well, it's like they liked each other more in the first one than they do in the second one.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, why did their relationship kind of get more struggle? Like, they didn't really explain that. But then, like I said, at the very end, I thought they did an okay job. When he saves her, and they're standing there and they're talking and stuff like that. I thought that was a good chemistry moment by them. But I will agree, the rest of the movie kind of fell off. It's like they don't really discuss why him and her.
Yeah, you can, like also too. You kind of also like expect like the fan to like, to piece things together. But at some point you can be like, the reason it's strange is that he's dying and he won't tell her the truth of what's happening. And she's probably like, you're not telling me something. What aren't you telling me?
Yeah, but the problem with that, I agree with what you're saying.
No, but she doesn't say that. But that's the thing.
Exactly. That's the problem. Is like Pepper Potts is a
something.
smart woman. She's a smart woman. She would have came out and asked it.
Yeah,
she doesn't, and that's the issue, right? Like if she had that issue, she would have inquired about it.
Because in the first movie, it's revealed that she knows Tony back in like the back of her hand. Because she was she's
like the secretary or whatever.
Yeah, she was assistant. She knows what to do with the women he has sex with, and he trusts her with that. He knows about the art he loves and all that stuff, and she knows him like the back of his hand. So like you kind of see that.
Basically, if you're a fan trying to explain this, what you just pulled up, you got to think about it. She was an assistant for a pretty good while. It seems like they don't really tell us the years or anything like that, but it's a pretty decent while. She knows a lot about him. Like maybe that's why the relationship's kind of estranged, is because she like remembers all the people.
She knows too much about him.
She knows all them women he was like.
Well, she said she was curating that art collection for 10 years. So
yeah, so
that's
like
true.
Yeah, so like she saw 10 years of him just humping women. And she's just like, man, why would Pepper Potts ever want to be with him?
Yeah.
Like when
especially
you think
after
about
she
it
already
now.
had the company.
Yeah.
Like you got to think that like ever since
like,
he had money,
too,
like he was going around humping girls all
exactly.
All
but then still like in number one, he almost dies as well again, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like he almost died in number one, and he became more truthful, and he really was more forthright with her. And in the second one, he's dying again. He should then be honest with her, like, "Hey, I'm dying, Pepper. We need to find something to fix this."
Yeah, and here goes
I don't know why he keeps that. You know what I mean? Like he
I was just
told
gonna
Rhodey.
say real quick. I know we're trying to get out of here, but real quick, I would say, why the hell? Why do we always have to find some kind of problem to drive an issue with the main character hero? When like this movie, like, all right, so if on the third movie, I get trying to throw something like he's possibly dying from his thing. The first movie, he almost died because he got captured. But why in the second movie couldn't we just had Iron Man being Iron Man, and the whole driving force of the film is that the bad guy is a dangerous
stopping evil.
Yeah, the bad guy is a dangerous ass MFer. He's coming in here to take your lunch. We're legit scared of him. Iron Man's even scared of him, and that's what he's got to overcome as the actual bad guy. That's the problem. They try to have him overcome his feelings, try to have him overcome, his heart being diseased, whatever, all this bullshit. When sometimes it's just really cool to like have to overcome just a badass bad guy.
We do see that a lot in the next couple movies, like the Cap movies. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
That man's beating up Nazis.
Yeah. But speaking of beating up Nazis, we want to do it, but we can't right now because we have to end the show. So thank you.
Wait,
yeah,
bro, that's not a good thing to end on. I don't know if
I know.
it's like
no, I tried to connect it. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. It didn't work. Matt, tell us where can people find you, my man.
When I'm not beating up Nazis, you can find me reviewing some shows on here.
Yeah. Justin.
Well, look, man, it is what it is, bro. Like, it's, oh man, the way that word's thrown around these days, you could be beating up anybody, and there are random Nazis everywhere. So, when I'm not doing the same thing, I guess I'm here talking about shows and stuff like that. After my son's graduation and everything, and after things get set up, I got stuff going on in my life, but I'm hoping here in the next couple of weeks, I can actually start maybe streaming a little bit of games and talking about some of the news on a more regular basis on like a stream. Mm-hmm. So be looking forward to that for the channel. I'm thinking about doing that on YouTube and Twitch because we can actually record on both of those at the same time. So look for that, maybe playing some Expedition 33 or some Baldur's Gate 3, some stuff like that. We can like chill, have fun, and talk about stuff going on in the entertainment world. Talk about the Diddy trial.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's such a wild stuff. But guys, my name is Fred. You find me here on our entertainment channel possibly every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Unfortunately, this show didn't come out on the Saturday. It's coming out on the Sunday. But usually our Rewatchers Council shows are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursdays, the original Rewatchers Council show, the Buffy version. Me, Snark, and Adelia. And sometimes shout out to Brendan Marr, our special councilman. We review Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Snark's a super fan. Adelia's a regular fan. And I'm a no fan because I've never seen Buffy. So first time watching Buffy for me. And then on Fridays, we do Angel, the sequel series for Buffy. That's the show I watched. I wouldn't say I'm a super fan, but I am a fan of Angel. I'm a big like Angel. Rob has also watched it, and so has Adelia. So those shows come out 3 o'clock Pacific on Thursday for Buffy, 3 o'clock Pacific on Friday for Angel. But then on our sports channel, I do a live show every Friday, 3 o'clock Pacific. Me and Caleb talk NFC East. We just talked about our schedule. It's a gauntlet for the New York Giants. Not a very good schedule for them. Possibly very, very bad news, or possibly good news. It depends on Russell Wilson. But then sometimes we also do the open table on Sunday, 6 o'clock. Me and Adelia, we have a topic of the week, and we just talk about it and have fun. That's on hiatus while Adelia's on vacation. That's where I do. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Have a wonderful time, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.